Hello everyone. This is Tan Molika. Today, Macy Visa extremely proud to announce that we have collaborated with Tiffney Johnson, immigration attorney who previously served as a U.S. Consular Officer at the U.S. Department of State for 15 years, with posting in Juarez, Havana, Sydney, Honduras, and as the Assistant Director of the New York Passport Agency. She was interviewing over 150,000 applicants for immigration benefit. After this career, she became an immigration attorney with a practice focus on petition-based family, employment application, consular processing challenge, and as well as complete citizenship claim. Okay, so our topic today is about specific red flag or scam related to EB-3 visas that the public should be aware of. So without further ado, let me invite our special guest, Tiffany. The floor is yours.
Hi, yes. Very nice. Thank you for having me. And so you were wanting to ask some questions to me about the EB-3 program, correct?
Sure, yes. The Cambodian audience is waiting for you. Say hello. Yeah.
Hi, it's very nice to be here. So just so you know, I can confirm the EB-3 program, it is a legitimate program. It is a U.S. government program that is codified under the U.S. law INA 203B3. There are 3 different types of EB-3s, so I believe we're going to be talking mostly about the unskilled EB-3 today, correct?
Right. Yes. So I start from session 1. Can you confirm that the EB-3 visa program is a fully legal pathway under U.S. immigration law? And how can I best communicate this to the public to dispel myths or concerns? And what are the most common misconceptions about the EB-3 program that I should address when informing others? And are there any specific red flag or scam related to EB-3 visa that the public should be aware of?
Yes. Okay, so like I said, the EB-3 program itself is a completely legitimate program. It usually requires an employer sponsor. There are some limited exceptions to that, but usually you must have an employer sponsor. It is fully outlined on the USCIS website, and also parts of the process that are governed by the Department of Labor and the Department of State. They have their own parts of their website that explain the parts of the process that they are involved in. So this is a process that involves 3 different U.S. government agencies. So all of those websites of those agencies have the details of this program and what it takes to qualify and all the details about sort of the procedures that are followed to obtain an EB-3, a green card through the EB-3 program. Some of the common misconceptions about the program are that that the job requirements are flexible and can be written so that only one particular person can qualify for the job. For example, let's say an employer really wants to hire a specific foreign national for the job, and they place in the requirements that they need 5 years of very specialized experience, for example, or 3 years of specialized experience to be a secretary, an administrative assistant. Well, the Department of Labor is not okay with this, although it's a very common thing I see when people contact me after their cases have been rejected, is that's called tailoring. So you have to keep your position descriptions within what is generally acceptable in the labor market in the United States as far as the requirements of the job. And that means so that it is fair for Americans to also have an opportunity to qualify for the job. So you can't write job descriptions that are so narrow that very few people could ever qualify for the job except the one particular person you want to hire. So that is a common misconception that I see all the time when people come to me for consultations. And unfortunately, when I'm contacted by people who have either done it without an attorney or a different attorney and had a case rejected.
Understand.
If you are interested in this program, there's kind of two ways to some people already have an employer that wants to sponsor them. So I work with people all the time who they're here as a student and they're working in a job after they graduate or something like that. And their employer wants to hire them. So they've already got a job and I work with them jointly pretty much through the process. However, many people do not have a job offer in the United States. And so there are companies that will match you with an employer and a job opportunity. And they recruit specifically for these specific jobs.
Okay.
So some of the red flags that you would notice in a company that may not be reputable is that they may promise a process that is shorter than what is actually realistic. Realistically, an unskilled EB-3 right now takes about a minimum of 4 years from the time of the labor certificate's filed to the time that a visa is available. So companies that promise maybe you pay extra to get your visa faster is usually a red flag, because usually even if you pay to have your petition process faster, it does not mean your visa is actually going to be issued any shorter period of time. It's pretty much a 4-year process for the unskilled EB-3. Also, companies that don't have firm and verifiable job offers, specific job offers for a company, or let's say it's a restaurant, a hotel, or whatever. You should be able to go online and know that that's a real place. It's a real restaurant. They're usually you can look up in the state records where a franchisee is registered as a real franchisee in the state.
Right.
Companies that don't have a licensed U.S. immigration attorney that they can consult with, because if someone is not an attorney, when they have an applicant who they are not sure qualifies for the program, a reputable company will refer them to an immigration attorney to make sure they are eligible. So if you're not being asked questions about your immigration history, your criminal history, your work history, that's a red flag, because you want to work with a company that is trying to determine your eligibility, to make sure you're eligible before you spend money on this type of program. So those are red flags. Also, another red flag is that there's different parts of the process that an employee and an employer can pay for. Some of the companies that I work with that process EB-3s, reputable companies, they will have already worked with an employer to pay for that first part of the process. And then they're only working with you on that second part of the process where the employee is allowed to pay. But so you want to make sure that the wage determination has been done, that the employer has paid for that portion of it, and you're not being asked to start from scratch and pay for the portions of the process that employees are not permitted to pay for.
Right. Thank you so much.